All right, new project bike is here. So this is a 2005 CBR600RR. I found this on Facebook. It was listed as a wrecked bike, not running. Running, but you can start with starter fluid, so it needs some work. From what I know, I believe someone crashed the bike, laid it down on this side over here. You can see here's a frame slider. Frame slider got completely bent. The whole radiator got bent. Of course, all the fairings on this side pretty messed up. The brake lever here is bent. Rear rim here, it's bent. I'm pretty sure these tires are shot. I think the guy filled them up for me, but I already went ahead and, yeah, wow, those are hard. I already went ahead and ordered some new tires. But from what I could see, that's most of the damage on the bike. Obviously, it's very dirty. The guy also said he thinks the fuel pump's clogged up. Let's see. It needs a battery too. I forgot to mention that. But from my guess, I think someone laid this bike down. Once it was laid down, I think it either got impounded or auctioned off to some auction yard, and then it ended up sitting in a lot for a while because, as you can tell, it's so dirty. It's been sitting for a long time. You can just tell it's been kind of outside in the elements. There's like pine straw and stuff in here. But I got this bike for a very good deal. So I went, talked to the guy, checked it out. We ended up agreeing on a price, $19.50. So, of course, the bike needs work. It needs a new rear rim, that other stuff that I just showed you. But I think $19.50 is very fair. And I'm excited to start working on this thing. Let's do this. All right, got the bike inside. Got it on stands. Now it's time to tear into this thing. So, first steps, I'm just going to start removing all the fairings. Since the back rim is bent, I already ordered a new one online. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the rear wheel. I'm gonna remove the front wheel too, because I plan on painting the rims. This side over here, the chain is super rusty and the sprocket's pretty old, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace the sprocket and chain while I have the wheel off. And let's see, what else am I gonna do? I'm gonna take off this rear brake because this is very bent. I already have a new one of these on order, and take off this radiator. Let's do this.
Scene 98.
Look how much better that looks immediately. Oh my goodness. I don't know why those are so ugly, but it's like the first thing you gotta do on a bike is take that off. Throw an integrated tail light in with the blinkers in it. Looks so much better. So now that that's off, I'm going to start removing the rear wheel and front wheel. So for this, you need a 32mm socket for this side. You just break it free. Unthread the nut. There's like an axle bolt that goes all the way through. Sometimes you have to hammer it through this side. You pull it out on this side, then you should be able to push the whole wheel forward and then kind of wiggle it away from the chain. And then you should have your rear wheel off. Rear wheel is off, and now I'm on to removing the sprockets. So this is the rear sprocket. It's attached to the rear wheel. So as soon as you take the rear wheel off, that will come off. And then the next up is the front sprocket. So this I've already removed, but I'll show you the process. There's this cover right in front of it with two 8mm bolts. You just remove both of those. And then there's this kind of like, I guess you could call it like a gasket, metal gasket on the other side. So watch out for that, it'll probably fall when you take it off. So remove this whole thing. And this is going to be in your way. So this attaches to the gearbox, and that's how your bike shifts gears when you push up and down on the gear lever right there. So I believe this is it's either a 10 or a 12 bolt on top. You unscrew it, and you have to unscrew it all the way. You pull it out, and then this whole thing is out of your way so you could get to the sprocket. So now we're taking the front wheel off. It's one bolt on this side, 22 millimeter. Loosen that up, and then there's 4 bolts on the front that you have to also loosen. These are 12 millimeter, so you just loosen these 4, and then you should be able to slide this bolt that goes all the way through out, and it should pop on down. All right, it is time to restore these wheels. So when I got the bike, the rims were in pretty poor condition. The front one I'm reusing. The rear rim, I had to completely buy a new one. It was bent, so of course I can't reuse it. So this is the one I got from eBay. I paid like 140 bucks for it. It looks straight to me, so we should be good to go. But of course, if I'm painting it, I need to prep it first. Right, so teardown update. I got the radiator off of the front. If you remember, the radiator was bent pretty badly, so that had to be removed. Here is the new radiator. So to remove the old one, it was basically just a series of a few bolts. I believe they were 10 millimeter. There's one on the top here, another one at the bottom, and then of course the series of hoses. They're just held on using usual hose clamps like this one here. So you take all of those off, slide the radiator down, and then you have this fan on the back of the radiator, which you have to transfer over. This is again just 10 millimeter bolts, or you could use a Phillips head screwdriver. And then you have to transfer over this whole fan unit to the back of the radiator. And then this is ready to be put back on. But when I was removing the radiator, I discovered the spark plugs are super easy to get to now. So since I'm going to do the spark plugs in the future, I figured might as well go ahead and remove the coils and get in here while they're exposed. That way I don't have to take off this whole top end air filter unit. I could just do it right in here. I got to the spark plugs using a universal joint, and then what is this? I don't know, 2 or 3 inch extension, and then of course a spark plug socket. And it's pretty easy to get in here. I'll show you guys the first spark plug I removed. Looks like it was running pretty rich, so I'm glad I'm changing these spark plugs out. I'm replacing them with the NGK Iridium spark plugs. It looks like that's what was in there, but these look like they've been pretty worn in, so I'm glad I'm doing it anyways. But yes, these are the best spark plugs you could get. So now that I'm down here and I've got all this out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and do the oil change. On these CBRs, there's this drain bolt right here, and then you have the oil filter right here. I'd recommend getting some tinfoil or something, just so that when you do drain the oil filter, it doesn't get all over your headers and cause a bunch of smoke when you go to start it up. So let's do this oil change. All right, so oil change is complete. This is the OEM oil filter. I replaced it with a Mobile 1 filter. I used I think it's M1108A oil filter. Went in, no problem, fits up well. And I used Mobile 1 10W40 oil. To get the oil filter out, I ended up having to remove this coolant tank. All you have to do is remove this one bolt, and you could slip it out over here, remove the oil filter, put the new one in, and then you're good to go. In terms of oil capacity, I used, I wanna say 2.6 quarts. And looking at my oil level right here, you can see it's right at the top line, so it should be good. Of course, I'm gonna run the engine once it's ready to start and recheck it. I believe this oil filter I used is a little bit bigger than the OEM filter, so the bike might require just a little bit more oil, so we'll have to see. Alright guys, so I just emptied out the fuel tank, and I really wish I was recording because the amount of gunk that was in there was ridiculous. And you can see the bottom here, there's some just gunk residue left over. But basically I took the series of 10mm nuts off, and then I pulled the whole fuel pump off. I let the gas drain out, and once all the gas was drained out, I took the pump off, and the pump is over here. So I got this fuel injector cleaner. It cleans like gas tanks, intake valves, carburetors. So I poured it all over the fuel pump, and I'm letting it sit. You can see that nut right there is just completely rusted over, and even there's still some residual just dirt and gunk left over. So I'm really starting to think that was what was causing the bike to have starting issues. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, put some new gas in the bike, throw the fuel pump in after it's done soaking, and see. But so far it looks like that hypothesis is pretty accurate. Look at the amount of rust and gunk in this fuel tank. Oh my god. I'm super excited today. I finally got this package. So I ordered a set of fairings from Fairing Master about 4 months ago, and they're finally here. So I guess that's the first thing to talk about this fairing kit is if you crashed your bike or you need a fairing kit quickly, you probably don't want to order from this company. They create all their fairings to order, so it takes about 2 weeks for them to actually create the molds for the fairings and get them painted, and then they have to ship them from China. And with COVID and everything happening recently, it took over 3 months for me to get these. So they aren't gonna come quick, but we will see quality-wise what they're like. So I'm gonna open this up. Got everything unpackaged, and I have to say, Fairing Master did a great job. I was a little hesitant ordering from this website just because, you know, it was coming from China. The website itself looked a little bit sketchy. I wasn't quite sure. Their prices were pretty good. And as I was waiting for shipping, I was getting a little bit more and more worried that it wouldn't come because it took so long. But, you know, the end result, these fairings look beautiful. I mean, the paint looks great. There's not much like orange peel. I don't see any runs or anything like that. And for a custom made fairing kit, this looks amazing. I mean, here's the front fairing, has the red. It looks like there's a little bit of a chip right there on the nose. But, I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy. All right, so far, I have the back fairing cowl on. I have the tank on. And fitment's pretty good. Can't complain. Only issue I've ran into so far is this lower piece, the tire cover. The center hole for this doesn't line up with the hole drilled into the rear swing arm. So yeah, that's not gonna work. So I'm gonna just have to run the normal black tire cover. And I don't know if I'll be able to make this work. I mean, maybe if I drill another hole into this, then I can mount it properly. I might just do that. But other than that, fitment's pretty good and it looks great. So I'm gonna keep working, get all of these other fairings on, and show you the finished product. All right, so I got all the fairings installed and bike is pretty much finished up. I've done a few finishing touches on it. Frame sliders have been installed. Those were bent, so I got some new ones. I installed some exhaust tape around the exhaust. Steel braided brake lines in the front too. I got the gear indicator installed, ram mount, bar ends. The bike is running beautifully now too. This coming weekend I'm going to be doing a track day, so I'm super excited for that. This bike is officially my finished dream bike, and I'm so happy with this thing. It looks absolutely amazing, and it rides just as well. Couldn't be happier. Appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Hopefully helped you out. Maybe you're looking into doing a project bike, maybe you're looking in a specific bike. These CBR600RRs are probably my favorite bike out there. They're just solid all around. They're comfortable, they're good track bikes, they're good for mountains, whatever you want to do. I ride this to school basically every day. So I absolutely love this thing. Thanks for watching.